There are many great videos and articles about configuring NeoVim-lsp in just a couple of minutes. If that's what you need, they are probably better than this video. However, we are going to focus on a specific niche, and that is configuring LSP for the old school Vim, meaning not NeoVim, without using any third-party plugin managers like Lazy or Packer, and with as little deviation from the default configuration as possible. As you can see, I am logged in not as myself, but as a test user without any dot files. Neither my .vim-rc nor .vim directory exist, so we can start from scratch. Unfortunately, Vim doesn't have a built-in LSP client, so we'll have to install a plugin for that. There is no way around it. Thankfully, since Vim 8, there is a native plugin manager called Pack. All we have to do is to create a .vim/pack directory for our plugins. We don't put our plugins directly here. They need to be contained in a namespace. It can be used to distinguish our custom plugins from the plugins that we find on the internet, or any other categorization you prefer. I will call my namespace vendor. This is still not the place where we put our plugins in. Now we need to distinguish between plugins that should be loaded automatically on startup and plugins that should be loaded manually. We want our plugin to load on startup, so we'll put it in a start directory. The plugin in question is called vim-lsp and it can be found on GitHub. The installation is simple. Just clone the repository to the directory we prepared. Now we need to do some basic configuration. There is a working example in the project README. By default, the vim-lsp plugin has no idea what LSP server to use for which programming language, so we'll have to specify that. The most used programming language for Fedora project is Python, and coincidentally enough, the README shows the configuration for Python. I guess we are lucky. Let me just explain the parts that will vary for different programming languages. This whole code block happens only if the py-lsp binary is available. The name of the server can be whatever. This is the command that should be executed to run the LSP server. And lastly, for what file types the server should be used. The next section is quite long, so I will keep only the configuration that I personally find useful. Don't worry, through some magic, the function is called only if LSP is active, and therefore it will redefine your standard Vim key bindings for their LSP alternatives only if the connection has been established. It won't break your key bindings in other buffers. That's it, our configuration is complete. Let's test it. To see if LSP is active, we can run lsp status. And nothing. Well, that's because the py-lsp binary isn't available. I just wanted to show you that nothing breaks and our config is perfectly portable between systems. Let's install the py-lsp binary. Alternatively, you can install it from PyPI. We can immediately see that the LSP is active because it is throwing code errors at us, but we can make sure. To be honest, I can't stand code warnings and suggestions as pop-ups, so I'm going to do one last configuration change and disable them. Okay, let's do some coding. But what is the package that I need? Oh, requests. But how do I send a request? Let's try get. Okay, so it expects an URL. Joking aside, I can never remember how to get a status code. There are many other useful features. For example, I should probably name my variables intelligently. As you can see, it renamed all the usages as well. I can press K to get the documentation for any symbol. I can press GD to jump to wherever a symbol is defined. And I can press GR to see where a symbol is used. And I can jump to that place. These are the basics, but there is more for you to discover. As a final note, let me say that I know these features aren't revolutionary and Vim can do many of them just by itself. The reason why LSP is so groundbreaking is that they are not implemented using dumb regexes. Vim delegates all of the logic to an LSP server, which in this case is a Python program, which has an actual understanding of our Python code. Moreover, the same LSP server can be used by any editor, which means you will get the same code completion, documentation and everything that VS Code or any other fancy IDE have. Alright, that's enough for me. See you next time.